A very good evening to you, and many thanks for joining us on this 6th day of September 2023, a day when the Africa Climate Summit comes to an end. Remember, this was the inaugural climate summit in Africa 31 years after the climate conversation started across the globe. Remember, you can watch this particular bulletin live across all our social media platforms at Lookuptv, on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, as well as YouTube. Now, we kickstart our bulletin with the matters of climate, and President William Ruto has joined other African heads of state as he presided over the closure of the first ever Africa Climate Summit at the Kenyatta International Convention Center in Nairobi. Now, Ruto has called on African states to ensure the African continent is safeguarded from climate change effects.
The solution. We are back on the solution. I am back on the solution. We are back on the solution. Africa, rise.
African leaders from government and the private sector, as well as academic, scientific, technological, philanthropic, and civil society sectors converged in Nairobi to confer, consult, deliberate, and formulate consensus on a clear, new, bold, innovative, transformational, and distinct African position on how the international community must engage with the undeniable climate emergency that is threatening human well-being and life on our planet. The Africa Climate Summit is both a demonstration of the unwavering collective commitment of the people of Africa to their vision to make humanity's first home here in Africa a land of abundant potential, limitless opportunity, and the possibility of shared prosperity. We demand a fair playing ground for our countries to access the investment needed to unlock the potential and translate it into opportunities. We further demand a just multilateral development finance architecture to liberate our economies from odious debt and onerous barriers to necessary financial resources. We are clear in our minds and hearts that the international community must walk with us in this journey into a future of prosperity and security in an ecologically balanced, thriving planet. We are therefore determined to have difficult conversations, take hard decisions, and make uncomfortable changes to set international consensus on an Afrocentric and globally inclusive path into an African future.
Well, remember, they of course had what they termed as the Nairobi Declaration, and we'll be coming to you with a more detailed story regarding the Africa Climate Summit, or the inaugural Africa Climate Summit. Of course, this comes ahead of the COP28 Climate Summit to be held later this year in November and December at the United Arab Emirates. Now, moving forward, more than 500 members of parliament from across Africa today convened at parliament buildings to discuss legislative interventions to mitigate effects of climate change. Now, the meeting is part of the inaugural Africa Climate Summit that comes to an end today.
What we're trying to say to the international community is, if our African countries are beginning to lead in some areas, help us learn from them so that we can move quicker together. Finally, Mr. Speaker, Africa sits on endowments, and that's the key message your president has delivered for us, which we've imbibed. We don't want to take climate change as victims. We're looking at the new opportunity message.
Because we would like to support parliamentarians who have the goal of 100% renewables. And that's why I am working very close with Kende and other parliamentarians, because we would like to decide what can we do better, you know. So make practical work, make our homework, you know, and look for better situation. And when we have a look at the last years, we had some very important crises. We have not only the climate crisis, that's one, and we know about that, and the extreme weather and all the impacts, especially here in Africa. But we have other crises, and that was COVID-19 pandemic and the Russian war.
That we strive to move ourselves from a continent of despair to a continent of hope. Because the future is with us. The future is right here in Africa. There are 3 lungs of the world in terms of climate: the Congo, the Amazon, and the Borneo in Indonesia. But the Congo is the biggest, the richest ecosystem, and if we protect it, its catalytic effect on many other parts of Africa.
Now, as the climate conversation takes center stage here in Nairobi, the media has been termed as a critical component in amplifying the climate voices and the impact of climate change. Now, this came up during a roundtable media conversation organized by different organizations, which include high-voice and journalists from human rights.
We in Africa are saying that we are going to act on the issues that are affecting us from a climate perspective.
We should not take advantage of this resilience that is displayed by our people and allow the heavy emitters of carbon dioxide to get away with it without by not paying for the adaptation costs.
The Moroth village live in the highland, and during this water increase of water from the lakes, they were locked in a highland. They were locked in Ireland, and therefore they could not access the amenities. The school is the other side of outside the lake, the dispensary and the market.
Media organizations do not, most of the time, allocate funds to cover climate change, to cover environment. The only time a journalist is likely to get an opportunity to go and cover anything around climate change is when there is a disaster. When there is drought in Turkana or Marsabit, which is actually as a result of climate change.
Now, as climate change continues to pose a threat to livelihoods, Laikipia residents have been left depending on relief food, as many of their animals succumbed due to the long drought periods. In the midst of all this chaos, however, parts of Chumvi and Makurian areas are reaping big through farming, courtesy of Laikipia County Government, which initiated a water project that was completed early this year.
Hapa mahali vile unaona hapa ni kwangu. Vile unaona green si ati imekuwa green kwa sababu ya mvua. Huko kwingine nchi ukitoka tu side na hii chamba unaona kafu kabisa, hata unachangaa kama hapa ni hapo. Hiyo green yenye unaona yenye nakupendeza hata wewe ukiwa hapo si kwa sababu yangu ama kwa sababu ya mwingine, kwa sababu ya serikali ya county.
Tumekuwa na usaidizi mingi kwa hii maji. Ya kwanza tulikuwa tukishota kwa laga. Tunawangania hiyo maji na wanyama pori. Vita mingi baina ya watu na wanyama pori tulikuwa nayo, sasa hiyo hakuna.
Nyakati zilizopita tumekuwa kwa shida, lakini hivi sasa tunashukuru. Na kuna swali umeuliza ya kwamba kama tukiashiliwa na serikali mali tumefika kama tutaweza kujimudu. Kwa mimi nasema la, hatutaweza hata kidogo tafadhali. Na ninaomba wasidi kutushika mkono, na tena ninaomba kama idawezekana wazidi kutuongezea maji ingine, kwa sababu baada labda ya mwaka ingine 2 ama 3 zitakayokuja utaona Chumvi tofauti na fenye ilikuwa pale mbele.
Hii maji ni overflow. Tunapatanga labda mara moja kwa wiki 2. Ndio nimelima hii sehemu kidogo. Na kutoka hiyo maji ya overflow yanza kukuja, tunaona faida sana. Mboga kama hizi mnaona hapa. Tulikuwa tunaendea town inaitwa Timau, 16 km kutoka hapa. Sasa tunashukuru hii mboga tunaweza kupata kwa mashamba yetu. Na watu waseme Maasai si wakulima, ni maji tunakosa. Lakini sasa tumepata maji, sisi tunajua kulima. Kwa hivyo tunaambia serikali hata wakipatiana fertilizer, kumbukeni wa Maasai bado sisi tuko na mashamba na tumeanza kujikakamua.
ongoing probe is ongoing at the City Hall mini chambers here in the capital Nairobi, where the Parliamentary Ad Hoc Committee is, of course, presiding over the probe, which is, of course, in questioning the World Coin stakeholders over the legality of their company's existence here in the country. Remember, they said over 635,000 Kenyans had already downloaded the World Coin app as of today. Let's cross over and listen in to what is happening at the County Hall mini chambers.
We let them, then we come to you. Whether, at least for you, you had some bit of a few questions in the morning hours, so that they don't lose track. We will come to you. We'll start with you. Yes. Yeah. So it's okay. I will start with you, my dear. So we start with you. I mean, you respond to the three, but you can add one. I don't know. Just one. You know, we are inquiring whether all this process was lawful, maybe the law was breached. Suppose it is found to be. And I refer you to the Data Protection Act 40 of 2019, 40. And I want to read, you can refer to, and it said, the right of ratification and erasure. A data subject may request a data controller or data processor to, among other things, that is B, to erase or destroy without undue delay personal data that the data controller or data processor is no longer authorized to retain, irrelevant, excessive, or obtained unlawfully. Suppose Kenyans found that probably they were taken unlawfully.
Now, 2 social workers have been convicted at Nairobi court after trafficking 3 infants from Mama Lucy Kibaki Hospital 3 years ago. Here is that particular story.
And following is deduced from the events of the 3rd meeting. Some money is placed on the table where the first accused person, the whistleblower, and Ross are seen. The discussions of baby nutrition and how the baby should be handled comes out. The money is placed on the table, and the first accused draws the money towards himself. And therefore Ross is grateful that the deal has gone through, and they leave, and investigation comes out. From the analysis of the video clip and evidence as provided, I am of the view that first accused person, knowing very well that Ross and the whistleblower or the driver of the said motor vehicle were not employees or representatives of Imani Children's Home, he fraudulently and without consideration of his ethics, he confers children or transfers children to people who are not representatives of the children's home, and therefore the whole process was by means of fraud, because accused person knew very well that in as much as these children are indicated that they are aided to Imani Children's Home, they were not aided there. And the court poses and asks a question. If Ross was to get one child, why would the first accused person in his mischievous behavior not let the 2 other children go as per the discharge?
Moving forward, 46 gambling machines have been destroyed and 62 cartons of illicit brew confiscated in Machakos in an exercise run by area police. Now, this comes a day after the police arrested the owner of gambling machines and 17 other people caught drinking illicit brew. According to Machakos County Police Commander Patrick Lobolia and Assistant County Commissioner Judy Wanjiru, who led the raid, the move is aimed at curbing the sale of counterfeit alcohol in the area.
We had a raid yesterday and the team managed to go out and they got some counterfeit alcohol yesterday, 46 cartons.
These machines and the alcohol, the illicit alcohol, the second generation, we found it somewhere near the stage, Machakos stage. And this is where everybody comes. The students are there when they are traveling, travelers, and every kind of person go to that stage. And they laid a strategy to get all of these people there. So they are found somewhere near the stage.
I also want to appreciate the KRA team. Wamekuja na strategies. There's an app inaitwa Soma Label where you are able to scan ile code iko kwa pombe. You can see there's a sticker there na kuna codes. Ndio uweza kujua kama unakunywa pombe haramu ama the good alcohol. Kindly, all of you can also scan the water bottles. You can also scan cigarettes and some juices. So kindly take notes and take advantage of such apps. Inaitwa Soma Label app. Also, about the gambling machines, they've come to destroy homes. They've come to destroy our economy because everybody is focused on the wrong things. Instead of going out to work hard, watu wanapeleka pesa mahali pabaya. Nata hii pombe imekuja kutuharibia our economy. How inaharibu aje? Sababu there's revenue allocation inaenda to the wrong places. Hawa watu hawalipi tax. Wanaharibu the resources zenye zinafaa.
These things are mixed of ethanol, I don't know, methanol, very dangerous substances. And then it's taken directly. So this effect to the society, it is our duty to tell the society the effects of this, the machines, the drugs, and then all this illicit business going around.
Anybody involved, whether in selling or drinking the counterfeit alcohol, action will be taken against him or her. So please, members, be vigilant, and even members of the public, mtusaidie kupata hizo arrest. Just tip off. The security team here is always alert. Kindly give us more information.
Time to get sporty, and the Kabeberi Sevens tournament set for this weekend has been officially launched today. Now, the two-day rugby festival will be the grand finale for the 2023 SportPesa Sevens. Defending Kabeberi Sevens champions, that is KCB, will play current national Sevens circuit champions Menengai Oilers, Catholic Monks, and Moi University in Group D. Saturday will see 16 of Kenya's top rugby teams face off at the group stage, with the qualifiers battling for the overall title on Sunday.
The ethos of this club, trying to push the boundaries, trying to make sure that the sport has always been inclusive, has always brought in everybody into the tent and never tried to have an elitist approach to the game. And you can see this in how the tournaments have also progressed in this year's National Sevens Circuit. The fact that many tournaments have managed to progress, teams have managed to still put out their best squads forward despite being called up to the national teams, and have a very good tournament. And I think, you know, the very last tournament last weekend in Eldoret is a testament to what happens when you expand the game out.
Now, that particular story brings us to the end of this particular bulletin, but do remember that we're following up key stories for you, including the just concluded Africa Climate Summit with the Nairobi Declaration. That is what we'll be focusing on, and of course what the summit has decided in regards to tackling matters of climate change ahead of the COP28 climate summit scheduled to be held in the United Arab Emirates, and of course as well including the African Parliamentary Dialogue on Climate Change, which is ongoing, or which happened today, as well as the World Coin investigations. All those stories on our bulletin or subsequent to bulletins at 7 p.m. Look up Tarifa and the Insight at exactly 9 p.m. tonight. But until then, you can visit our website www.lookuptv.co.ke just to get an overview of the stories making headlines across the 47 counties. Until then, do have yourself a lovely evening, and like always, God bless.
We value your feedback and welcome your complaints about our programming and operations. Feel free